Hello, everybody. It's Max with Crypto Talk now. Is Quant set to hit the 270 mark by the year end? Well, without further ado, let's jump right into it. So, as we can see, this is straight from Being Crypto, and this is pretty recent. But if anything, I thought I'd bring it to you guys because I think this is actually a pretty conservative price that we could realistically hit by the end of the year. And then if we get into like a big bull market here, let's face it, in November, which is right around the corner, I think this is more than realistic. So as you can see right here, there's a few brief things that we're going to bring to your attention. For one, like it mentions, the Quant price has broken out from a long-term descending resistance line. And on top of that, the long-term support and resistance at 150 and 237 respectively, right? Of course, there's what they refer to as a 5 of these bullish waves of impulse. We'll get into that as well. But recently we saw the whole thing happen with Quant, in which it went over to like, what was it, 218, and then of course it pulled back, and then a lot of people were feeling that, hopping on that bandwagon of, hey, Quant's going to crash back down to 100. I don't see that personally. I don't think there's enough support, especially with these support lines, to support those particular theories. Now, I would be rooting for it, to be honest, because my attitude is, if it went back to 100, that's I'm totally fine with that, especially like for a person that is putting, like, say for instance, $200 into Quant, like maybe every week or every other week, right? That sounds pretty attractive, right? You want to be able to get as much Quant as you possibly can. But here's the thing, right? Like it mentions, Quant price has nearly completed its correction that has been ongoing since October 17th. Afterwards, an upward movement is expected that could take it all the way to 270. Now, you may be wondering, well, where's the data to back that up? We'll get right into that. So, a few key things I want to point out is this: back in September 2021, we saw Quant way up there for the previous all-time highs. And if anything, like it mentions, on June 15th, Quant initiated upward movement and broke out from a long-term descending resistance line prior, of course, to that all-time highs that happened back in September 2021. The price chart shows that Quant has been increasing an accelerated rate and reached a high of 228.10 October 17th. The high was made very close to that 0.5 Fibonacci retracement resistance level, of course, at 237.50. On top of that, Quant's price has been falling since, I should say. And let's face it, again, it was because it was, if anything, overbought. And on top of that, it's just natural. It's going to have a pullback from that, which I'm totally fine with. What I love to see with any crypto, and especially Quant, is where we reach some of these highs, for example, this year, and then on top of that, we have a pullback, and then from there, again, like these short blasts off, and then consolidation, so on and so forth. I think it's healthy, not just for Quant, but any particular crypto asset out there. In regards to this right here, if you follow, for instance, RSI, it mentions that the support for the legitimacy and the upward movement for Quant, it moved above that 50 line and validated it as support afterwards, which of course was that green icon. The indicator has been increasing since and is not yet even overbought not even in overbought territory currently speaking. Of course, it was overbought territory. What we saw with roughly was at 208, 218, roughly in that range. Right here, you kind of see what's going on with it. Again, I'm trying to zoom in as much as I could, but that's as much as I can do at the moment. Quant price, of course, is completing a fourth wave pullback. The entire upward movement since June 13 resembles the beginning of what is referred to as a bullish impulse. If correct, the Quant price has just completed a wave 3 and is now finishing a fourth wave pullback, which is really cool. A little bit more. The most likely area for the correction is to end is close to, of course, that 0.5 Fibonacci retracement support level at 157.60, since this also coincides, of course, with the aforementioned horizontal support area. In regards to the 270 mark, this is the real kicker. It says the fifth and final portion of the upward movement could take Quant price all the way to 270. Target is found using an external Fibonacci retracement on wave 4, which is in the black area here. We'll get to that in a moment. And of course, the 0.618 length of waves 1 and 3, which are in red. And you basically see that right here. Focus, of course, if you can. I know it's a little bit hard to see. On the top right, where you have that number 5, and then it has a red line. Basically, that's what's mentioning to reach to that 280 mark. Now, again, I realize that some crazy things could happen. I'm not a fortune teller or anything like that, but I am basing on what I'm seeing here in this upward trend. And I think personally, this is not anything nuts. Like let's face it, the random typical content creator who comes out with something, says something like, this is gonna 1000x in a month or something like that. Obviously, that's not realistic. But I do feel as though it's very realistic to hit 270 by the end of the year. That's very conservative. And again, you can go see this for yourself, straight from Being Crypto. Highly recommend doing that. Or if you want, you can just simply do a Google search, type in Quant Qnt, and you'll see this particular one being listed, in the news section about roughly 4 or 5 days ago. Now, a little bit more, straight from CMC. You can go here yourself, and this is, of course, the trending cryptocurrencies on CMC. And I thought this was really cool because, if anything, yeah, there's a lot of, coverage about Doge, and rightfully so. I mean, the whole thing with Elon Musk and whatnot, him basically, committing to Twitter and the whole deal in that regard. It was to be expected that you're going to see things happening with Doge and whatnot. But what's nice here is to see what's especially going on with the likes of Quant. Now, this again is on the 24-hour trending. You may think, well, 3.78% is not that much as far as that goes. But again, the point is, it's in the trending section. And like I mentioned before many times, whether it's on the live show or here at the recorded, I feel as though the crypto trifecta, and I'm going to keep calling out like this, is just that. Whenever your cryptos basically have that supply and demand, and on top of that is trending, I think that is just the perfect magic, formula for a winning situation. So anyway, like you see right here, here it is, 168.04. Quant is ranked 17th overall on CMC. We're gonna, of course, zoom in just a little bit here, or zoom out, I should say. I'm gonna click on this, and as you see right here, I mean, again, roughly at this 168 mark. The volume is up about 94%. We do have a confirmed market cap at about 2,025,352,956. And again, if we're referring, of course, back to what happened last year, Quant did basically hit that 385 mark. So even when you look at the far right of this, right, with what we had recently on that 208 mark, was the last week. I really feel as though that reaching 270 by year's end is more than conservative. All right, so a little bit more in regards to Quant. I saw this particular tweet, and again, shout out to this guy, Quant Qnt, who, he's following me, I'm following him. He even came on our live show. Thank you again, sir, if you're watching and being a supporter of our videos for Quant, especially the support for CTN Crypto Talk Now. I thought that was really, really cool. But guys, give him a follow if you haven't done so already. He covers Quant quite often. I love what he stated right here. He says Quant is not here to compete, it's here to connect. And that's a great statement. I also like how this was broken down. You always hear this, you always hear this particular expression. Quant connects everything with what? Everything, right? It literally is just that, and it's the center of it all. Multi-chain, decentralized app 1 and 2. We're always talking about payment APIs and so on, but look how massive that is. I mean, Visa, MasterCard, Amazon Pay, Samsung, Google Pay. I mean, even all these other ones. Heck, I mean, I use Discord, like you see right here on the top left. I use it for gaming. I use it for crypto. You may use it, you may not. I mean, heck, there's Facebook. I mean, there's a lot of familiar brands here. Other payment APIs. I mean, always talk about Swift, right? Literally, look at that right there. And then also, for instance, Quant's was it CTO, Chief Technology Officer, recently had that piece where he was asked about the whole thing with Cebos, and when they went there, Hey, we saw you guys talking to, the likes of Swift, Swift representative. You guys got something going on with that? And he's like, yeah, absolutely, we do. Even on the live show, I basically covered the whole thing about how Gilbert Verdian basically confirmed that, yeah, that's not BS. I mean, we really are, having this whole conversation with Swift and whatnot. And I get it. A lot of people feel as though, like, well, I thought this was already a done deal. Like, with the whole thing with ISO 222. And, it was a done deal with, like, for instance, with XRP and whatnot. I get where you're coming from. You got to keep in mind that's XRP, Ripple's XRP. This is not the same type of company. I mean, this is Quant. But the whole thing is for them to actually have this going on, you can kind of see where things are going to be in line and put into motion. I think it's really, really awesome. Again, some of these other ones, right? The blockchain APIs. You can see what's going on with here. I mean, Avalanche, Cardano. You get the gist of it. I mean, heck, we always talk about XRP. Literally, there it is on the bottom right there. Banking APIs, right? That's going to be the massive one to get, these trillions of dollars of what I believe is going to be the adoption that we need from the financial sector to achieve insane market caps for the overall crypto market. I think a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of times people put so much focus, again, on the retail side of things, and they dismiss some of this. You shouldn't. They shouldn't. I'm not saying you guys aren't. But if anything, again, look how this is broken down. I think this is really cool. A little bit more. I gave this guy a follow because I thought as though he comes out with great posts for Quant. Midas Digital. At EM Davis 855-25165. I gave him I thought I gave him a follow. Well, I'll give him another follow. Anyway, I'm following him. I suggest you do as well. He covers Quant quite often. He has great posts. And I totally agree with this particular statement right here. So he says, why we keep comparing Quant to Microsoft is because, like Microsoft, it is the operating system for all of crypto. And I said that many times before. On the live show, recording, and so on. I feel it's just that Quant is literally the Microsoft of crypto. So like I mentioned, crypto technologies and legacy system that will become interoperable with blockchain. Microsoft, for instance, took 44 years to reach that $1 trillion market cap. Bitcoin, of course, 12 years. And, will Quant reach that in a less amount of time? I feel as though it will, because if anything, Quant definitely has the utility, and it has a more, attractive circulating supply. Heck, it even has less of a maximum and total supply. And it's just that Bitcoin simply doesn't have that. That doesn't mean I'm bashing on Bitcoin or anything. And I get there's a lot of Bitcoin maxis out there who thinks, for instance, that XRP is garbage and whatnot. I would have to respectively, agree to disagree with that. But, everybody has a different point of view. But again, comparing Quant to Bitcoin, I honestly think eventually Quant will, overtake the likes of Bitcoin. I honestly don't think Bitcoin is going to be the number one crypto asset out there. I think obviously it's going to be way up there for many years. But that number one spot, I feel as though they're going to be dethroned at some point. And maybe it won't be permanently, but it definitely would be temporarily, or a back and forth thing for a while. That's just my humble opinion. But another piece from Midas Digital. Again, it says breaking news. Some of you guys know about this. Some of you don't. It says breaking news regarding Swift postponing that migration of ISO 222 for the next year of March 2023. We, of course, had a few guys who pointed this out on the live show for Crypto Talk Now. By the way, it's a 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific show. And it's just that, this has seemed to be delayed for the migration to next year, March 2023. It says a date we should mark in our diaries, or calendar in that case, right? This could be a black swan event for Quant, or at the very least, another catalyst to the price of our favorite gem, Quant. Of course, you can read more about this straight from here. Again, this is actually straight from, I believe, from Swift. So it says, Swift postpones, of course, the ISO 222 migration originally planned for November 2022. After, of course, Target 2 by the ECB. Remember, we covered the whole thing here before with what's going on with the Target 2 system. And of course, the MT/MX transition is also postponed to March 2023. A little bit more in regards to everything Quant. There's this, and this is from Crypto Nerd, who's at legit Crypto Nerd if you want to follow him. And he states, I wish I could stress it enough how bullish this is, just like I was when Quant was $6, but few listened. And that's our thing, you know, a lot of people just don't simply get it until things really take off, right? That's just, I don't know, maybe it's nature, maybe it's not. But if anything, like here at Crypto Talk Now, we've been covering Quant since it was like roughly at the $40 mark. Look into it yourself. We even had people, shout out, of course, to Coochie Boy, who's a loyal, supportive member of our community, who gave us, of course, a shout out and so on. But that's not the point. The point is this, just like he mentions, you know, you cannot stress how bullish this is, just like when it was $6 for Quant. $6 for Quant, man. I mean, talking about knowing something awesome, and, you know, especially the people that, you know, bought up big bags of this. But anyway, it says these pullbacks are normal, and it is normal. Think about that. On the way up, again, like I mentioned earlier, you want to see these things, of course, go up like anything, but you don't want to, of course, Quant's not a pump and dump. This is not like some garbage, you know, ERC20 token, meme coin that just has no utility and whatnot, and then the devs go away. This is a very great, you know, positive project that's literally doing big things in the world, right? This is the generational wealth that we're all looking for. Again, it's not financial advice. That's the way I personally look at it, and I am obviously not the only one. We're going to zoom in a little bit on this. So look at this. So it says, for instance, you are here, right? And this is way back, of course, May of 2020. You kind of see where it's at. And then it's highlighted, says, well, in case you didn't notice, Quant has already broken out of the Ichimoku cloud on 3D time frame too, just like it did here when it was around $6. And I think it's just that. When you have things broken down like this, as the saying goes, when in doubt, zoom out. It's just that. You got to look at what the history is behind these particular assets, in particular Quant. You can see what happened here at the $6 range. And of course, you see where it says you are here right now. And of course, this is like roughly, you know, like where the price is at right now in the 160 range, right? It's pretty amazing to see this and reflect upon it and then have an idea of like, you know what, that 270 by the end of the year, that is more than, like I mentioned, a conservative price prediction. And I don't really do a lot of price predictions. I do it sometimes, especially like, you know, Luna Classic and so on, and some other ones. I don't do it too often unless I see data that supports it. I don't want to ever be the type of guy just like, oh yeah, this is going to be a 10,000x in a week or something. I just think that's just ridiculous. For one, people see right through that, and why would I want to make a statement like that? On top of this, there's this right here. Back to the whole statement of, you know, the thing with ISO 222. Again, this is from Miles Taylor. He says, Swift, I should say. ISO 222 goes live in November for early adopters on an opt-in basis. And that's the key thing. There's this whole thing about it all being delayed till March. Again, the key thing here is that we want to point out is it's on an opt-in basis. And again, on the live show, I'll try to reiterate that and share this just in case anybody missed this. So then it goes on to mention March 2023 would be the new ISO standard, which would be mandatory. So if anything, you know, like we talked about, again, on the live show, we did multiple segments. I think we did all the way up to part 8, where it says preparing for November, and it has a list of those ISO coin/tokens, right? You know, and a lot of them coming online in November, right? Again, that was for opt-in basis. And now you get more clarification that March would be mandatory. So if anything, I guess we should prepare for March, right? I know it gets a little frustrating because it feels like, you know, we're waiting and waiting. But come on, if you're the type of person which you were waiting for your, you know, your 401k, and you started that back when you're 18 years old, and you're going to pull that out when you're 65, right? You're willing to wait for that. You can't wait a few more months for this. Well, I think you can. Anyway, 5 months of migration to the mandated date. Quant network users have 5 months to flow in, buy their, buy your coins, man, especially during this time. Again, it's not financial advice, but that's just the way I look at it. I think we're going to be priced out of Quant. I'm just being honest. I think that's inevitable. Just like some people feel as though they're priced out of Bitcoin. As far as buying a full Bitcoin, yeah, right? I think it's the same situation with Quant. All right, a little bit more. I wanted to point this out. All right. So, of course, Dogecoin is really, really trending, rightfully so. And I'm glad. I mean, here's the thing. I know some people, want to bash Dogecoin and say it's garbage and so on. But let's face it. It's kind of like Coke and Pepsi, right? And then cola, right? Do you ever go to the grocery store? Or do you ever go to a party or anything like that? Or somebody asks you, hey, you want to have a drink? And you say, well, sure, what do you have? And the guy says, I got Coke. You want a Coke? They say Coke. Why? Just think about it. They're going to say, you want a cola? Right? So I kind of look at meme coins in the same, circumstances. Dogecoin is the Coke. Let's face it, Shiba Inu is the Pepsi. And then all the other ones are basically just that. They're the colas, if you will, of meme coins. They're just... So I don't want to drink some of those colas, but I wouldn't mind sticking to these original ones, right? I get the whole thing of, some people are like, Dogecoin and so on. It just doesn't have the utility. And I get it. This is a quant video, right? But the point I'm trying to make here is this. If it wasn't for Dogecoin, I never would have even gotten into crypto. And I was lucky. I got into Dogecoin at a penny. Got like about 30,000 or so of them. I did ride that wave. And, it served me well within, I think, 3 or 4 months. My $300 investment became $22K. I never looked back, and I got a Shiba Inu. Some of you guys know the story, some of you don't. So anyway, back to the subject at hand, right? Here is Quant with the market cap of Doge. That's massive. This is, of course, the price, right? We're about $993, right? I think we get to this eventually and then some. So when I say something like we're going to be priced out of Quant, this is basically what I'm talking about. Some people have the attitude that they are already priced out of Quant. Like some people have the attitude, I don't want to get in Quant because it costs too much. Again, here's what I want to remind people, especially new investors, and that is this. Don't have the attitude that you have to buy one full Quant. If anything, if you're on a very low budget, dollar cost average, which refers to as DCA, little slivers of Quant until you achieve a full Quant. There's nothing wrong with doing that. For instance, Bitcoin. Do you think people will go out and buy a full Bitcoin all the time? I mean, some people do, right? Because they're, they have the money to do so. But the majority of people buy little, portions or slivers, fragments, if you will, of that. Have the same attitude when it comes to Quant. And then, if anything, as whatever your budget is, like a few months go by, or maybe even a full year, you'll eventually get to where you have a full Quant, and if not more. But anyway, I thought that was really cool. Quant with the market cap of Doge. Quant sitting at about 17th, I believe it is, on the overall crypto market cap. And Doge, I think, is sitting at like number 8th overall. Pretty awesome. All right. I think we got a little bit more before we... yes, we do. Before we close this out. That was really cool. If anything, kind of nice to be able to have these particular videos. So it says one day, so I'll zoom in, one day Quant will do this with Ethereum and Bitcoin. Man does a full frontal flip from an inclined plank position. You'll get the analogy here in a second, but if anything, it is a pretty cool clip I'm going to share with you. Check this out. Wow. You go try doing that yourself. Good luck with that. So guys, that wraps up today's video in regards to Quant. Glad, of course, to be here and do this type of coverage for Quant for you guys. Check us out, of course, if you want to watch a good live show. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Last but not least, check out the new Crypto Talk Now network app. Shout out to Legrand Commission, who basically provide that and so on. Go to cryptotalknow.net. Basically, test out the app for yourself. We're trying to make it like a one-stop shop. Got live charts. You can make groups. You can do instant messaging. It's got it all. Pretty cool. You even see the new NFTs that we have there. So guys, again, that's it for today's coverage on Quant. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already. May all have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the next one.